Good morning, everyone. So, I am Jeraza and I'll be your speaker for today. So, I am going to show you a picture and I'll let you, like, I'll give you a couple of time in order for you to observe the picture and what comes up into your mind upon seeing it. So, I'll give you like about 2 minutes for it. Okay, so you may just pause the video and think of things that would come up into your mind regarding the picture that I have shown you. And so much for that. Let's have our learning objectives. Okay, so I'll just be a heads up of our discussion. That would be art as commodity. Okay, so curious about that. So let's proceed with our learning objectives. So we have what is commodity? The second one is a brief history of art as commodity. And the third one is what are the impacts brought by it? Okay, let's proceed. Okay, I'll be discussing uh, what is commodity. Any idea from the class regarding what is a commodity? Okay, well then thank you so much for all your insights regarding what is commodity. But I'll be giving you the definition of it. So, commodity is basic goods that can be bought, and sold, often used as raw materials in production of other goods. They are usually interchangeable and include items like oil, gold, wheat, and coffee. And then in addition to that, commodity as well as a basic item that can be bought or sold. These items are the same no matter where you get them. So one unit of products is just like another. They are often used to make other things. A great example for this, or a great example of a commodity, is the wheat. No matter where you buy wheat from, it's basically the same product. And it's also used to make things like bread, pasta, and cereals. Okay, this time I'll be sharing to you one person who actually have an idea regarding this commodity. So since we are talking about commodity as an art, so here comes Karl Marx. So he conceptualized in his book, that's Das Kapital, and we have categorized it into two. So the first one, they are articles of utility, physical objects existing outside of us possessing properties which satisfy human wants or needs of some sort. In short, they have use value. So I'll explain that to you. This statement actually refers to objects that have practical value. So because they have or they serve as purpose in fulfilling human needs or desires. These items referred to as articles of utility exist independently and possess specific qualities that make them useful. And essentially, their use value means that they are valuable because they help satisfy our needs or wants in some way. Of course, if we are going to express ourselves into arts like drawing, and most of the artists are selling those, so since they have portrayed their wants of like painting, so in exchange to that, if they're going to sell it, so they'll receive a specific amount to that specific thing. And right now, let's proceed with the second one. So the next one, there are depositories of value. That is, they can be exchanged for other commodities considered to be of value, or they can be exchanged for money. In short, they have exchange values or have pure social reality and derives from the human labor expended in their production. So this means that some objects have exchange value because you can trade them from other things or sell them for. The value of these objects comes from the work people put into making them. This value is something society agrees on, is something based on labor involved in their creation. We can talk about exchange value, or when we talk about exchange value, we're saying that certain items are valuable not just because they are useful, but because they can be traded or sold for something else or equal value, like another product or money. And also, for example, for this, if you have a chair, you could sell it and use the money to buy something else that you need, like food or anything that you wanted to or you desire to buy. The chair's exchange value comes from the amount of work that went into making it, how much time and effort person who created it spent. And in connection to art, if ever, let's say I am the artist and I have an artwork and I have my artwork, I sold it, and the money that I have gained upon sold or selling the item, I have bought like shoes and new shoes or painting materials in order for me to create another art or another creation that I can sell. And also, in addition to that, this idea of exchange value is the idea of exchange value is not just about share itself being valuable in a personal or emotional sense, but how society values it in the market based on labor that produce it. So, the value is based on what people are willing to give for it. And this value is agreed upon people in society. And right now, let me focus on what is art as a commodity. So, for the information of everybody, and art as commodity embodies intangible concepts and ideas by transforming them into material goods capable of being marketable, sellable, and collected. So when we say art as a commodity, this means that the paintings, sculptures, and etc. is treated like products that can be bought, sold, and traded in the marketplace. Just like any other item, its value is influenced by demand, rarity, and artist reputation. Just for example, the artworks by the artists like Picasso or Van Gogh, unsa man inyong nahibaw ang mga famous artwork ni Van Gogh. Okay, I can state the example which is the Starry Night. So kini siya kay makasell, then can sell million of dollars because they seen valuable both for the beauty and their cultural significance. In this sense, art is not only about expression or creativity, but also its economic value in the market. And another example that I can cite for this is the art of Leonardo da Vinci, which is the Mona Lisa. While the original painting is actually priceless, of course, this is one of the famous art that we are known of, or Da Vinci is known of, and this is kept, or the painting was kept in the Louvre Museum. And for the information of everybody, did you know that kini siya ang museum kung asa gibutang ang kaninga painting ni Da Vinci is the largest museum on earth. So, see how significant Mona Lisa painting is? Image of Mona Lisa is widely used and sold in many forms. You can also find it in posters, mugs, t-shirts, and even keychains. These items featuring the famous painting are sold around the world. Of course, this is very rampant and this is also very kanang known na gid na siya because Mona Lisa has or have a lot of kanang history about unsa na siya sa image or the kanang iya yung mga details sa image very kuan kay siya kanang very rampant kay siya sa atong environment, so very kanang popular, that's the correct word. So much about Mona Lisa and about the paintings of Da Vinci. Karon adto na sa tas history, and that will be shared by John Michael. So John Michael, take now the floor.
So, thank you for that very informative explanation, no, Ms. Jereza. So, kay kaibaw naman taon sa meaning sa commodity and art as commodity, let's move on to a new topic, which is brief background of art as commodity. So, even though wala ni siya sa module is, gi-apply lang nila mo out of curiosity, no? So, to start off is the 1980. So, ang 1980 is considered to be the decade when art became a commodity, marking a significant shift in the art world. So, kani kuno nga dekada is diha nag-start ang commodification of art. So, mura na siya og formal start sa commodification of art. So, diha po daw nagsugod ang dako nga changes sa art world. During this time, artists became brands that were marketed and sold to consumers, and artwork was seen as commodity. So diri nagsugod na ang pagsikat sa artworks o artists. Nya, kung sikat ka nga artists is mahimo og brand ang imong name. So most likely ang presyo ani sa imong art is half ana is gikan sa name sa o gikan sa name sa artists or sa brand. So kay kaybaw naman ta sa personal or sa like individual background sa artists in the 1980, dili pud mawala diha ang shelter nga nag-cater aning mga artworks. So for the second one is brand new art and commodity. So an example of this shelter or like mura og sa man, stadium or like a stage where ara present ang art is like a museum. So an example of this is the Hirshhorn Museum and Sculpture Garden in Washington, D.C. Exhibit features works from both well-known and lesser-known artists, and includes nearly 150 works that are rarely displayed. So, ari, an example is kaning ko ano, Hirshhorn Museum and Sculpture Garden in Washington, D.C. So, ari, ila ko nang gi-showcase ang mga arts gikan sa artists from both well-known o lesser-known artists. So as we all know, ang museum is like mura na siya og mag-conduct og exhibits or mag-showcase sa arts to the public. Pero nagngita po na sila og like mura og mupalit sa ilang art or interested nga mupalit sa ilang art para mapatuyo po nila ang artworks na sila'y mag-gain nga ginansya. So the last but not the least is aesthetic and monetary. So the idea that art is a commodity is debated. Some see it as functional. Functional is na purpose. While others argue aesthetics and commerce are separate. So ang uban ko nun niingon nga same ra man na ang aesthetic ug ang commerce. More na ang mura og function sa art or like hinungdan nga nung naa ang art as commodification for aesthetic and money purposes. So kay kaybaw naman ta unsa ang background sa art as commodity ug meaning niya, ari na pud ta sa unsa man ang impact nga gihatag sa art as commodity, no? So naay five ka impacts ang nahatag sa art as commodity. To start off, market-driven values, exclusivity and elitism, standardization and commercialization, cultural impact, and art as investment. So for market-driven values, art becomes judged more by its market value than its cultural or emotional significance, leading to a focus on profitability rather than artistic or intent quality. So ang arts kuno is wala na nag-based sa meaning, message, ug unsa kanindot ang arts, but sa kuha na sa iyang monetary value. So gipalit ra ang art kay para mabaligya, gipalit ang art on a cheaper price para ibaligya into a more expensive one. No, mura siya og saman, kanang current market na to karon. So the second one is exclusivity and elitism. As art becomes a commodity, access to it becomes limited to wealthy collectors and institutions, creating a divide between those who can afford art and the broader public. So maoning hinungdan nga nung na ay museum nga free, public museums ug naay private nga museums kay ang public museums mostly is like cultural ang theme which and ang private museum is ari na ang musud ang exclusivity and elitism. Adto ang mura og katong kabanta mo nang nasa mga movies nga magbid og kwarta for a specific artwork ang mga tao like mga dato. So diha isa po na siya sa example sa exclusivity and elitism. Wala na access ang public and mostly mga rich na lang sila kay mag-ilog kinsa ang mupalit sa art para mabaligya pod into more expensive nga kanang value or i-keep as a kuan heirloom or like kanang mura og sa term ni kanang symbol of wealth na lang man no nga napalit nila og kanang higher nga value nya ilan like it. So the next one or the third one is standardization and commercialization. Artists may feel pressure to produce work that appeals to popular tastes or market trends, potentially limiting artistic freedom and innovation. So kay lagi na inis sikat na ay commodified na ang art or sikat na ang art as commodity, daghan na og mopalit, so na ginay mahimo nga trend. Just like the standard market nga naay trends noon sa mga sikat karon like mga gutat nato sa mga ato ang standard market naman mga iced coffee mo na ang trend. So mostly ang mga mo occur nga business is diha ra pod magkuan magtuyok sa mga iced coffee related. So yung ana pod ang art. So kung naay mo sikat or ang sikat nga trend sa art is abstract, most likely ang mga patok pod or ang mga kanang dali mahalin nga art is abstract art pod. So ma-pressure na ang kuan ana mga artists into making abstract art. Samot na kung dili gina nila forte ang ingana nga art or artwork type sa artwork. So the fourth one is cultural impact. When art is commodified, it may lose its broader cultural or social significance, becoming more about status symbols or luxury goods than about challenging ideas or provoking thought. So as what I've said ganina, no nga, maong naay kuan, naay public museum nga mura og dili sila mag kuan og gains kay para ma-preserve ang cultural significance sa isa ka artwork. Kay kung mag-focus ra ta pirmi sa private or like katong mga dato is mawala gyud ang cultural impact sa usa ka art. Kay mag-base naman sila sa presyo gyud instead of the literal meaning sa art. And the last but not the least is art as investment. Art is often seen as financial asset, leading to speculation and treating artworks as investments rather than expression of creativity, which can distort the true purpose of art. So, connected na siya sa katong connected na siya sa katong ah, standardization and commercialization no nga mura og naay trend. So kung gihimo na nimo og investment ang usa ka art is mag-base na lang pud ka ato nga trend in hopes nga mabaligya siya into a higher price. So mura og wala na kay laing gisaligan kundi ang imong artworks. Mawala na ang sense of creativity or muhatag sa imong murag muhatag sa imong best bag bisag dili nimo forte magkuan na lang ka mag-abstract art bisag kuan nimo ang artwork painting dapat nga kanang detailed mao imong forte. Then ang trend is abstract art. So mag-abstract art na lang ka in thinking nga investment siya, mahalin siya into higher price. So mao na ang last and ang impact niya is most likely negative tungod kay ang commodification of art is nagkuan ra mura siya og nagtuyok sa money and exclusivity sa isa ka artwork. So, and I think that concludes art as commodity nga topic.
Okay, and before we end, thank you so much for the information that you have shared, Mr. John Michael. And before we end up our discussion, I'll be giving you a question. So, for you, why is it so that works of art are not cheap or not for free? So, I know you have lots of information or lots of ideas in your mind, but I'll be sharing to you some of the information regarding those. So, the first thing is it is not for free or it's not cheap. It is because art tools are expensive. Like as of this moment, we have digital or manual. These art tools are never cheap actually. They have to buy or rent good software monthly too. So that costs or that is also one of the kind of main reason why is it so that it is not cheap or for free. It's not given for free. And the next one is we have art education is also expensive. So of course they need to study regarding the like the elements or principles of art that they're going to use in order to portray the message that they wanted to let us know about what their artwork is. And the next one or the third one is making an art is not easy. Of course, the artists have to cultivate an idea regarding the artwork that they're going to make. And also, it's not easy because they still have to think critically on what are the things that would catch the attention of the one who are going to view their artwork. And the fourth one, we have Okay, and the fourth one, we have making art take time and energy. Of course, this is understandable for you. I think there's no need for me to explain this, but I'll be sharing you the fifth one. So the fifth one is lastly, artists are human. They pay bills and eat too. So their creation, they're going to use it as their means of making money.
Then,
That ends our
Eden.
discussion, and we will end this with a quiz. Goodbye, and thank you for listening.